This is the history of Athens from its mythical origins all the way up to the modern day. So this is going to be a long one. Let's start off with some geography. Athens was situated in Attica, which is the region that surrounds it. But Attica is surrounded by other regions belonging to other city-states like Megara and Boeotia. Now, it's important to understand how the ancient Greeks viewed the world because they didn't really have much of an idea of how big the world actually was. For them, the world ended at the borders of their own region. So when we talk about Athens dominating the Greek world, they literally meant the world as far as they knew. Athens was built on the northwest side of Attica, which had pretty terrible soil quality, so agriculture wasn't really possible there. So Athens started off as a naval port for trade coming from the interior of Attica. But right next door to the west was Megara, who also had a navy, and they were rivals with Athens. And since their navies were so close, they would often get into conflicts over control of the seas. This rivalry between Athens and Megara would eventually explode into the First Peloponnesian War. Now, let's go back before any of that happened. The legend has it that Athens was founded by Cecrops, who was a king of Athens from around 1400 BC to 1374 BC. He organized the government into three branches: the legislative, executive, and judicial. Now, he's kind of a debatable figure. Some scholars think that he did exist, but most think he's purely mythological. It's likely that the early Athenians created myths about their origins to justify their claim to rule over Attica. The first historically confirmed ruler of Athens was Theseus, who united Attica under the rule of Athens. Now later, Athens would come into conflict with the nearby region of Boeotia, and they went to war with each other. It was during this war that Athens gained the most sacred of their religious sites, the Acropolis. According to the myth, when King Theseus died, his son, King Pirithous, became the ruler of Athens. When King Pirithous died, these two brothers, Aeacus and Telamon, split Athens between them. Telamon got the northern part of Attica, and Aeacus got the southern part, including the Acropolis. Later on, another war broke out between Athens and Thebes, which was ruled by the descendants of Telamon. They fought over the territory of Euboea, but eventually Athens came out on top. Then, later on, Athens went to war against the Argives, but they were defeated. And then after that, they went to war with the Boeotians again, but they won this time. These wars took place during the period known as the Mycenaean period. After that period ended, Greece fell into what's known as the Greek Dark Ages, which lasted from around 1100 BC to 800 BC. We know very little about this time period because writing didn't exist. Then, writing returned to Greece around 800 BC, and Athens began to re-emerge as a political power in Greece. During this time period, they had a system known as the polis, which was essentially a city-state. This system of government was very common throughout ancient Greece. Each one had its own laws, customs, and government, and they were constantly competing against each other. Athens wasn't the only polis in Attica. There were around 200 of them scattered around the region. But eventually, Athens would grow to become the most powerful polis in Attica. And from there, it expanded further to control many islands in the Aegean Sea. And after that, they took control of the coast of Asia Minor. And with all of this new land came a lot of new people. And Athens grew to become the largest city in Greece with around 800,000 citizens. But not everything was great in Athens because there were still a lot of rivalries with other polis. Sparta was a major rival of Athens because it represented everything that Athens wasn't. While Athens was a coastal trading city, Sparta was a landlocked military powerhouse. These tensions would eventually boil over into the Second Peloponnesian War. The Delian League was a military alliance led by Athens after the Persian Wars, and the purpose of it was to protect the Greek polis from future Persian invasions. But eventually, Athens used their naval superiority to take over the League and make it into their own personal navy. This didn't sit well with Sparta, and they formed the Peloponnesian League to oppose Athens. Eventually, the two sides went to war. In the beginning, Athens was winning battles in the sea, but as the war dragged on, Sparta began to blockade Athens and prevent them from trading. This blockade devastated Athens and their economy, and they lost the war. After the war, Athens entered a period known as the Silver Age, where they focused more on trade and less on war. During this period, Athens rebuilt their empire and became rich due to the amount of silver mining that took place within Attica. But while Athens was rebuilding itself, Philip II of Macedon rose to power in the north. His goal was to conquer all of Greece, which he mostly succeeded at. Philip forced Athens and Thebes to team up with him to fight against the Persians. But after the war, Philip turned on Athens and began marching towards the city. To defend itself, Athens formed an alliance with Persia, which might sound a little confusing, but remember, they don't really know how big the world is. So for them, Persia is just this other random kingdom north of theirs. So Athens was like, "Hey, Persia, you want to help us fight against this guy?" And Persia was like, "Sure, why not? That'll teach those annoying Macedonians a lesson." But anyway, despite having Persian support, Athens was defeated and destroyed by Philip. After that, his son Alexander the Great came to power, who would go on to conquer the known world. After Alexander died, his empire crumbled and Greece fell under the control of the Kingdom of Macedon. Eventually, Rome would march into Greece and destroy Macedon. So now Athens is technically under the control of Rome. Athens became a Roman province in 146 BC and remained a part of the Roman Empire until the fall of Western Rome in 476 AD. Then after that, Greece fell under the control of the Byzantine Empire and remained a part of it until the Ottoman Empire conquered Greece in 1464. Greece would remain a part of the Ottoman Empire for the next 300 years. During this time, Greece became heavily populated with Muslims, which is why there aren't many Muslims in Greece today. But then in 1821, Greece revolted against the Ottomans and declared independence. On March 3, 1826, Athens was officially declared the capital of the new Greek state. Then Greece began to rapidly industrialize and modernize to catch up with the rest of Europe. And finally, we arrive at World War II. Greece joined the Allies and fought against the Axis powers. On October 28, 1940, Italy declared war on Greece and began marching into the country, but Greece was able to stop them. Then Germany decided to join the war and invaded Greece, forcing them to surrender. After the war, Greece entered a period of political instability, but eventually democracy was restored and Greece joined the European Economic Community. And that is the history of Athens. If you enjoyed this video, check out my podcast where I talk about similar topics. Thanks for watching.